Born to unknown parents in the sand village, Sasori's parents would be killed by Sakumo Hatake and Bao, leaving Sasori in the care of his grandmother Chiyo. In an attempt to cheer him up, Chiyo would teach Sasori puppetry after it joins Akatsuki, where he would be partnered up with Orochimaru for a short while until he failed to take over Itachi's body, later being partnered up with Deidara, where they would fight Orochimaru but failed to kill him. Over the years, Sasori and Deidara would remain partners, eventually being given orders by Pain to obtain the One Tail, who just happened to be the Kazekage Gaara. But their victory would be cut short when they would be found by Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura, who were also aided by Chiyo. While Deidara lured Kakashi and Naruto away, Sasori would fight Sakura and Chiyo, and after a long drawn-out fight, Sasori would be impaled by his own puppets. Well, what's up, Winter here for another character showcase where I'll be going over someone who in my opinion is heavily underestimated, and that character being Sasori of the Red Sand. Now, for this time, I'll only be sticking to the show since there's really not a whole lot to cover on Sasori, and just to get out of the way, though I don't think I need to mention this, but I just want to clear this up, and that's that I won't be taking any of Sasori's showings as an El Tensei, due to him being resurrected without any of his puppets, so he would honestly be useless. Now, with that said, let's start with Sasori's physical capabilities. By the time of his defeat at the hands of Sakura, Sasori would be a 35-year-old man standing around 5'6". Despite not much being shown on Sasori, it can be assumed that he would be in great shape due to members of the Akatsuki needing to be on Jinchuriki levels. Speed-wise, he's reacted to surprise attacks from Kanakuro and Chiyo, all while fighting Sakura. Durability-wise, Sasori has remained unharmed after taking a punch from Sakura that destroys Puppet. While this may not sound impressive, Sakura's punch alone was shown to be strong enough to shatter the ground, and due to him turning himself into a puppet, Sasori doesn't seem to suffer any physical weaknesses, since he put himself back together after being destroyed by Sakura, and was only taken out after his core was skewered, so dealing the right amount of damage or just destroying his core would be enough to put him down. Sasori has two puppets. His main is dubbed Haruka, that takes the form of a scorpion with a poison-tipped blade, not just being limited to offense, but also serves as a perfect defense weapon. Haruka is rigged to fire off poison needles through his arm and mouth, and is also capable of performing the sand clothing technique to serve as a diversion. His third Kazekage puppet is his strongest, that can use iron sand, much like Gaara's, but is better. The iron sand when attacking our puppets can immobilize them, which is also mixed with Sasori's poison. Sasori mainly favors using spikes, needles, and pillars. Furthermore, Sasori's sand is also capable of changing its trajectory when fired. Aside from sand, the third Kazekage puppet has several other weapons. Poison blades, it can form 1,000 hands to pummel its opponents. The arms also have a function to not just crush an opponent, but also release poisonous gas, and should they be severed, a small buzzsaw can take its place. But this isn't all he was limited to. Sasori himself built his body to be a puppet, replacing his intestines with a cable to be used as a stinger. He can fire off powerful fire and water blasts that are powerful enough to destroy rocks and blades along his arms, but if this failed, Sasori's more powerful technique is that of his 100 puppets that is mentioned to be strong enough to wipe out an entire country. Much like all other puppet masters such as Chiyo and Kanakuro, Sasori's one that shouldn't be underestimated. As tactician, despite not much being shown, Sasori is mainly a reactionary fighter when using his main puppet before countering with a devastating assault. When using his Kazekage puppet, Sasori takes offense primarily attacking with his various weapons and sand to misdirect an opponent to catch them off guard to wear them down with his poison that will result in them being incapacitated. Despite Sasori's limited showings and his young appearance, he's still a force to be reckoned with, since to even find someone who would even pose a challenge to him, we have to go all the way up to B tier. Even then, most combatants don't have the firepower to keep him down due to how he's built. I really can't see the Persona characters being a threat to him. Sure, they could damage him and his main puppet, but I doubt that Sasori wastes his time on them. Levi straight up gets his ass handed to him, without doubt. For starters, Levi can't even compete with Sasori's puppets. Sure, Levi may be fast and all, but that's all he really has going for him. And I actually agree with Deathbell on the Thunder Spears that they're more effective against slow moving titans, and not fast moving opponents. The Ruby and Final Fantasy characters are a mixed bag. Starting off with the Ruby characters, and more specifically, Cinder, Raven, and Adam, have the firepower to keep him down, and the speed needed to dodge his attacks, since they scale to lightning timers such as Blake and Mercury. And I say Adam at least when he's level headed. If bloodlusted, Sasori could catch him off guard, but others such as Blake and Winter, despite having the speed advantage, I still see Sasori taking the win, since both would go into blade on blade combat, but Blake would be the one who would be able to challenge him. Now, that's not taking anything from Winter, since she would be able to break him out of his main puppet, but her summons won't really be able to help her much, since Sasori's Iron Sand is a hard counter, and since his Iron Sand can reach long distances, her main powers would just delay the inevitable. Blake's Sempos would be able to pull off some stops to get some good hits in, but I still see Sasori winning, since once he brings out the big guns, his 100 puppets would grant him an opening to take her out. And I just want to save this for last, and that's Aura. Now, don't get me wrong, Aura is a reliable defense and offense, but when you have poison that is as potent as Sasori's, it makes Tyrion's Venom look like child's play. It's even mentioned that even for a medical ninja like Sakura, who was trained by one of the best ninjas, who just happened to be one of the legendary Sani in terms of Tsunade, it still took Sakura extreme precision to make an antidote for Sasori's poison. And as Suakage mentions, it doesn't matter how much you physically train yourself, but you can't train your organs to resist poison, whether it's his mist or just a poison tipped blade. Now, moving on to the Final Fantasy characters like Zack, Cloud, Genesis, and Sephiroth could take him out since their magic would damage his puppets, and they should have the speed to outmaneuver his sand and, at best, deflect his needles. Other Final Fantasy characters, unfortunately, don't have the firepower to keep him down, such as Gladio, Cypher, Squall, and Auron. However, for Squall, I could theoretically see him win if he hits him with his Limb Breaker, but I just don't see this happening. V is one that could go either way, but I see Sasori taking this once again. Sure, V's demons bring far more firepower than Sasori's puppets, since Griffin is a counter to Sasori's Kazekage puppet, and Shao is a hard counter to his main puppet, but his 100 puppets again is a hard counter to this, and his fire and water blast could take out his demons. However, the best way I see V winning is if he breaks down Nightmare right away, but I just don't see this happening, and I don't think that the battle would drag on long enough for V to summon Nightmare. Other than that, Sasori is placed in the top section of B tier as possibly one of the most dangerous characters that I have ever mentioned in the Versus series. And that'll do for this character showcase. And what do you think? Is it possible for Sasori to be ranked higher, or did I miss something? And with that said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter if you care about that, and I'll see y'all next time.